What's up, guys and gals? It's time for the latest piece of One Piece. Hopefully, by the time this one comes out, chapter 1149, entitled 1 Second. Now, obviously, this one is over a week late. I already explained it in multiple videos, but now I'm going to say it again, and I should probably take my meds again. Unfortunately, there's been a lack of content for a very good reason. I already was diagnosed with arthritis as a kid. Have it in my hand sort of idea, and now unfortunately I have the gout in my feet, hence why I wasn't able to make it down here to make any content for the last 10 days or so. Yeah, it's definitely been very difficult, and yeah, so anyways, but enough on that. We're just here to try to catch up before 1150 drops, which should probably be, by the time this one comes out, 1150 probably dropped. But once again, don't want to get too far behind, so we're definitely going to get this one out of the way along with all our other reviews. So, big color spread this time for this week. It's fun, it's nice, it's wholesome and stuff like that. I like it, you know. I really like Bonnie just running away in the corner and stuff like that. Chopper. They're doing that whole Maid Cafe thing, and they have the whole you write something on the omelets and stuff like that. It's once again I've never been to Japan, so I don't get the idea necessarily, but I understand why so many people they enjoy this idea. So we have Zoro there drinking, we have Luffy there just eating, Sanji in Seventh Heaven. It's just a fun color panel, in all honesty. Now we move on to the actual chapter. So, Scopper, the man, the myth, the legend, Scopper Gaban is here. Nami, Jinbei, Usopp, Robin, Brook, they're all like, what? Who the hell is that? And what the hell did he just do? Because he just took out Summers. He took out one of his hands and he's like, what the hell? And we see that crack of that Conqueror's hockey. Because once again, guys, Scopper, he's got Conquerors. I'm not saying that Jinbei or Sanji is ever going to get Conquerors. I personally don't think they need to get Conquerors. Once again, Whitebeard's crew didn't have that many Conquerors. Rogers having only 3 makes sense. I mean, because Odin was sort of like Odin was a free agent in the sports metaphor. He was like a free agent all over different crews, you know what I mean? He was the Wano guy, then he was the Whitebeard guy, then he was the Roger guy, then he was back to Wano. He doesn't fully, honestly count. So when you really narrow it down, if you discount Odin, the number of Conquerors hockey guys doesn't account for so much. So once again, if Sanji or Jinbei never get Conquerors hockey, it's fine. But fact of the matter is that Scopper Gaban does have that Conqueror's drip, and he's just there. Boom. Summers is completely totaled there. He's like, what the hell? And Usopp is like, it worked on him? What did he do? Scopper looks back and goes, I'm rusty. Like, because he meant to slaughter him, obviously, right there. So he turns around, spins his axe, comes at him again. It's a thorn barrier attack that manages to block Scopper's axe, and he's just like, wow. And then Summers is like, well, and he's sweating. He's like, Mountain Eater, what are you doing in Elbaf? So obviously they didn't have the intel. They did not have the intel that Scopper Gaban, this is his home. You fucked up. It's the same. This concludes the same argument that why people don't attack Sabaody is because in the archipelago is because Rayleigh's there. They know he's there, but they're like, as Garp said, the amount of force we would need to bring him in is just not worth it. He's not doing anything to disrupt us, so leave him the fuck alone because it's not worth it. And they're about to find out. So they didn't have the resources to keep track of where the top tiers of the Roger Pirates were. And Bowman's just like, let's not get bogged down with this. And he's like, boom. So he starts attacking. So they're going on a duel here. they're exchanging blows and stuff like that. Scopper obviously has the upper hand because he's fucking Scopper, right? Like, these God's Knights, once again, I hate their introduction and how OP they are. It makes no sense. I can't wait to find out. We don't find out this chapter, but we will find out the secret so that non-Conquerors hockey users, I don't think that's the secret. I just think that there's got to be a secret. These God's Knights can't come out of nowhere and just dwarf everybody. You know what I mean? Like, that's stupid. That's terrible storytelling. That's terrible narrative. So Scopper's going to have the secret, and he is putting these guys on their back foot. And I'm like, yeah, let's go, right? So Usopp's like, wait, you guys already met this guy? He's like, yeah, he was totally pushing Luffy and Zoro around. And, like, Nami's like, we already met this guy, Yasan. He actually, like, he made Zoro and Luffy have to go all out. Like, it was not pretty, you know? And it's like, wait, what? It's like, that old man? Like, wait, is he Scopper? And they're like, yeah, if he's left hand, this makes a whole lot more sense and stuff like that. Now, this is where Robin, immediately, she wants to try to help. Chopper also, who's being a bit of an MVP here this chapter, Chopper is looking at, and then his attacks are actually doing permanent damage. They're doing lasting damage at the very least. How? So, you know, Chopper is watching this going analytically and going, wait, Usopp did this, Robin did that, nothing worked, Jinbei did this, but why is Scopper's moves working? Like, what's the difference? So Chopper wants to figure it out because there must be a secret, right? So, and as I said, Robin's like, well, even though I'm caught in these thorns, I can still move and stuff like that. Jinbei says, wait, don't. And once again, people are saying that Jinbei's a coward. No, Jinbei's not a coward. Jinbei's smart. Jinbei already said this a few chapters ago. Conserve your strength. We're obviously just going to fatigue ourselves by fighting. Let's assess the situation. Let's do what we can from our restraints. And then when the time is ripe and we figure out a good solution or an escape plan, then we will go forth. Not before. And I'm like, okay, Jinbei, you know, being the level-headed one. It even says, you have hand-to-hand combat, Robin. Your fighting style against the thorn fruits, it ain't gonna work. That's a bad idea, so just don't bother. Now, this is where Summers is going all out. He's like, Thorn Hunt, Crimson Lotus, this, that, and the other thing. And he's just like, and Scopper's like, well, I'm in a hurry. Double page spread. And just cuts off Summers completely. Basically beheads him, in a sense. Cuts off his other arm. Cuts off his, torso from shoulder length. Foam just gone. He's like, yeah, that's enough of that. And then he completely keeps running. He's like, I'm coming, Colin. And he's like, all right, I'm going to go save my boy. Fuck the God's Knights. And they're just all like, wait, what? That guy who could recover from everything, he just beat him? So Chopper immediately goes through the thorns, even though it's hurting him. He moves into speed point or whatever it is, and full reindeer style, and he goes forth, and he's like, I've got to follow this man. I've got to figure out how he is doing this. Good on Chopper. Once again, the analytical mind. It's like, it's not just for medicine. He's like, there is a system here. There's a chemical imbalance. There's a this, that, and I can solve the equation. You know what I mean? It's a mathematical logistics thing. And he's going forward. So he's trying to find out the crucial secret. So he follows him. Killingham is watching as the school is burnt and stuff like that. And he's like, now we need to take care of the other building, the library and stuff. And he fires the fire arrow. It's hitting the library and stuff. And it's like, look at it burn. Robin's watching it happen, just beside herself. So is Saul. And it's just like, no, this can't be true. But the Jarl is just like, he's beside himself. He's like, but once again, Jarl, you are not doing this out of the badness of your heart. Like, Jarl, you are making the right choice. Like, one child is not worth it. Like, the sacrifice of one child is not worth it, right? So the Jarl is doing the good thing. And the people are controlling him. It's like, no, it is not your fault, Chief Jarl. You are doing the right thing here. Even one child's blood stained, we would never want this building. You know, it's not worth it. And it's like, no, it's true. There is a lot there to unpack. As a leader, after watching like Andor and stuff like that, there is a lot of evil, quote unquote evil, you have to do in the background so that the heroes can win in the end of the day. No war was won with clean hands. Put it to you that way. Regardless who was right and who was wrong, at the end of the day, nobody who fought in war walked away with clean hands. But sometimes it's necessary. And I'm not arguing that Chief Jarl could have made the decision that no, these books, this information, the tales of our forefathers, they're too important and sacrifices must be made. That would be a very hard decision to make. It wouldn't be a wrong decision either, but this shows a heart. Is it the right or wrong decision? We're never, it's very difficult. Like, this is literally caught between a rock and a hard place. So once again, the little girl ends up walking back off of the plank, as it were, and stuff like that, and it's just like, it's not your fault, we will do this. Scopper shows up to take out Gunko, and I'm like, yes, this bitch who thinks she's all that. It's like, yeah, why don't you fight against someone with conquerors hockey, motherfucker? Like, you God's Knights, you're way up on your pedigree, but you haven't gone toe-to-toe against someone where your immortality bullshit hasn't come into play. Like, let's fight against someone who can take you down. Now let's see how tough you are, motherfuckers. So Scopper comes in and he's like, you don't have any right to take these things away. And that's Gunko realizes that this is Scopper, and immediately realizes that, and he's hoping, like, don't speak up, Colin. Please don't say anything, sort of idea. Like, while Scopper's trying to get there, he's trying to get there in time to take her out without that stuff. And Colin's like, yeah, that's my dad. My dad's the strongest. He's going to save everyone and stuff. And Gunko immediately recognizes it. Scopper's like, oh, shit. And then immediately Gunko gets to Colin in time, and it's like, fuck. Now, once again, people are going to blame Colin. You can't blame Colin. He was just hoping. He's like, yeah, I'm here. Obviously, he's going to be like, yeah, that's my dad. He's going to beat you up, sort of idea. And it's like, yeah, he's still a child. It sucks. And Scopper's like just praying for that 1% chance. And it's like, yeah, no, it didn't happen and it sucks. So now Colin's life is on the line and stuff like that. But unfortunately, Scopper does uses Future Sight Hockey, which of course he has. He's Scopper Gaban, man. He has Future Sight Hockey. He sees it and he realizes, like, he's got one shot at this where he can save it. He looks at it. He's like, okay, I'm a warrior. He's like, you be brave and stuff like that. He's thinking about when Colin was born and stuff like that. He had the scar back then, so it was obviously over 20 years ago. Gaban already had the scar. So the scar is not recent or something like that. So when did he get the scar? From last we saw, I don't think we fully saw Scopper at the end of when Roger disbanded the crew. I don't believe we saw this side of his face. So it's potential that he got this scar during the God Valley incident or something like that. We're not sure. Anyways, unfortunately, Scopper does see that if he goes all out, he will defeat Gunko. But he's going to, Colin will die. He sees it with his future sight. So he powers up his Conquerors hockey and he's ready to kill. But unfortunately, he won't make it in time. He sees that with his future sight. So he gives up and he drops the axe just to make sure. He's crying and he's just like, nope, I give up, I yield. He drops the axe. So Gunko will not kill Colin. He looks at him, hands up, boom, takes 3 arrows to vital parts, like right there in the torso. It's Boromir all over again. It's 1, 2, 3, right in the chest area, right in the stomach, right on all that area. And he's just like, I'm sorry, my son, and sort of idea. And then he falls down to the, obviously to the netherworld, to the bottom realm. Now, Chopper jumps after him. I assume Chopper's going to fix Scopper's not dead. Scopper's not dead. I know a lot of people think this. This was to put Scopper out of commission because without the threat of Colin, what is to stop the God's Knights from winning? Because if Colin wasn't there, Scopper gets rid of Gunko and then goes after Killingham, and that's the end of it. Because Scopper's not going to lose to a God's Knight. Sorry, he's just not. Luffy's not going to lose to a God's Knight, by the way. If Luffy and Zoro were up here, problem would also be solved. Like, these guys are not going to lose to God's Knights. I'm sorry. We're too far into the series where the Yonko are the top tier. Yonko aren't losing. Kaido and Big Mom aren't losing to God's Knights. Neither is Luffy or Zoro. Neither is Blackbeard. Neither is Shanks. Neither is, these people, Mihawk, Crocodile, none of these guys are losing to God's Knights at this late stage in the game. So the fact is they needed a reason to put Scopper out of commission because he was going to just solve the whole arc right there. So they put him out of commission. I understand why. It works for the story. And everyone's like really like beside themselves. Now here at the end of the chapter, Gunko keeps hearing the daddy part. And then she's remembering. And this is the big thing. Brook is her dad. Yeah. So Brook, the reason she loved listening to his music is because Gunko is clearly not just a God's Knight or a Celestial Dragon, but was the child of Brook, clearly, in some way, shape, or form, and has all these memories of Brook. It started to trigger her, and then somehow Emu went in to Gunko and grew her hair out and stuff, and then possessed her in some way and said, it's all over for you now sort of idea, because Gunko immediately says, what is this memory and stuff like that, and like, Brook, like, I have to get back to, are you Brook? And so immediately went there. Now, the only reason I'm thinking that maybe it's not her father, but maybe her, Brook's captain, the original captain's father or something like that, people have made that theory, is the fact that she refers to him as Brook. So potentially she's like, oh, you were my dad's best friend sort of idea, and you helped raise me or something like that sort of idea, right? So maybe not Brook's actual daughter, but maybe adoptive daughter in a sense, that kind of idea. Anyways, goes forward, tries to rush, but the moment she starts to regain these memories, Emu takes over her body, and Killingham recognizes that Emu has taken over Gunko and stuff, and it's like, at this moment, the Holy Land is in a sea of flames. We need greater numbers, and I will show you all the dominance of God. End of chapter. Now, a lot to discuss there. I know the 1,150 spoilers are already out. I haven't read them, but I heard something about a demon army. That part was spoiled for me. A demon army. This is getting crazy. But if those spoilers are true, I don't know what context that means, but holy shit. So obviously either the revolutionaries finally attacked, Blackbeard finally attacked, somebody attacked Mary Joa, and everything's going to shit. And for some reason, Emu thinks now is the time, instead of dealing with that shit where they are, is, hey, this is like a recall. Sort of like, hey, why are you guys fooling around? Get the fuck back to the Holy Land. We have a situation right now. Takes over Gunko. Somehow, we don't know why or how, another power. And they're able to sense it. And now we're just like, what? How is this person a celestial dragon? She's obviously not. So Gunko's clearly not a celestial dragon in the traditional sense. Also is able, for some reason, her hair grew longer once taken over. She has memories that have been blocked, but she still remembers Brook and stuff. Like, my God, there is a lot. There is a lot to take away from this chapter. So much, too much, in fact. There's so much information. Like, I'm going to just be watching, like, I've already watched some theory videos from guys like Teching and stuff, but I'm just going to be looking at the Reddit posts and looking at more and more theories. You know what I mean? Because that's all you can do at this point. You got to look at the theories because there's so many directions Oda could take this at this point. And I'm just sitting here like, alright, I'm waiting for next week. Which next week, thankfully, is probably by tomorrow by the time this video comes out. So, or the day that I post this video, the chapter will be out. So, cool. As far as, time dilution happens. Anyways, yeah, great chapter overall. I really enjoyed the chapter. I understand that people don't like Colin for shouting out and stuff, and Scopper got sort of, nerfed. But that was bound to happen because otherwise Scopper's going to win. Scopper's the strongest guy on the island. He's going to win, right? So we needed to nerf him. Just is what it is. So, anyways, I'm good with it. Hopefully, You guys are too. And that's it. I think we finally caught up with all the chapter reviews we missed for the past week. Obviously, I'm going to have to crawl my way back down here tomorrow or the next day to catch up with the next set of chapters, because 1150 is going to be out. I'm sure there's a few other things that I missed. But in the meantime, hopefully we're all caught up again. And once my meds kick in a little bit better for my feet, then I'll be able to make more content, and it'll be more, daily, every 48 hours sort of idea, like I was trying to do before. So, anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We'll see you guys back here next time. Have a good one. Love the chapter. Hope you guys did too. See ya.